Hey guys, and welcome to a brand new video here on the View from the Crowd YouTube channel. And today we are going to be going through mine and Sam's original predictions for the start of the Premier League season, and also having a sort of kind of a entire season review, going team by team. You're looking at how they got on this season. So it's fair to say, me and Sam got our predictions pretty wrong.
Horribly wrong, I think is the word.
Yeah. I didn't get a single one right. Sam, you got one right.
I think I get one throughout it, and I that was before last day, so I don't know if it changed on final day. So it might have changed on final day. I haven't looked since final day, but I think I got one wrong.
Right, yeah. I made mine a good few weeks before the season started, and I think I got mine catastrophically wrong. But we'll start with your bottom three, Sam.
Yes.
So back in August, who did you reckon were going to go down?
Well, I think this was quite a common one, actually. I put Sheffield United, and my reasonings for this was the signing of Ravel Morrison and Phil Jagielka, and the team not really looking that strong. But my God, they've been sensational since they've come up. They've been absolutely fantastic. The other two I put was Brighton and Hove Albion and Norwich City. So Brighton and Norwich were lingering there and thereabouts. Norwich ended up going down. So I'm okay with my bottom three prediction other than Sheffield. Like, if I'd have put my one above in, I'd have been like, yeah, okay, fair enough. That wouldn't be too bad, but, you know.
Yeah. My bottom three were, again, last place, Sheffield United, more or less the same reasons. I didn't see much in their side. They did well to come up, and then I thought, they're just going to be one of these teams that go up straight back down. And we were proven very, very wrong.
We definitely were.
My other two were, so in 19th place, I put Newcastle United. I thought, Steve Bruce is never going to keep these lot up. They signed, Joe Linton and them, but I just didn't see them doing much. And they didn't really do too much. I guess St. Maxim he did very well this season, a lot better than I thought. But Newcastle stayed up. And then my other one was Southampton.
Southampton. That was quite a good shout at the beginning of the season, though. They weren't very good, and then Danny Ings started firing. So
yeah, I feel like this season's been a bit of a mess about. I was coming
into a very strange season.
Yeah, I was coming into this sort of predictions, making a lot of what I thought was logical sense with my choices. And then it turns out I've just got them all completely wrong.
Yeah, I would like to point out, I actually put at the end, so there you have it, my complete Premier League prediction. I know for a fact that I'm going to be made to look like a fool by the end of the season. Yeah, so I got two predictions right.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I said, also you should know I made these predictions and wrote most of this before the end of the transfer window.
Yeah, mine was the same. Because obviously I looked at Norwich and I was talking about Ralph Fairman and Joseph Dermich looking like big signings, but then Ralph Fairman ended up leaving and Dermich didn't do much, and it was a pooky show for about August, and then he just didn't do really that much, did he? He scored a couple, but he wasn't anywhere near where he was in August. So
yeah, I just also, the next sentence after that is so if Southampton signs Sainty McSaintface, the greatest player who ever lived, and he's going on to win them the league on deadline day, then I'm sorry. Great. Anyway, so hovering sort of just above the relegation zone, who did you have as the next three teams just sort of hovering above the relegation zone?
The next three teams, I put Newcastle United in 17th for similar reasons to what you put. I was more looking at Ayoze Perez as well, moving to Leicester. Obviously, I knew they had some players who were good with St. Maximin and Joe Linton. Obviously, Joe Linton's been a bit of a flop this year, but especially St. Maximin, he's been really good for them. And so I thought they'd stay up because I think Steve Bruce, I thought he had something about him. But other than that, I thought it would be very close between them and Norwich. Obviously, it turned out not to be that way at all. And then 16th, I put Crystal Palace, and that was very Wilfred Zaha dependent. And obviously he was linked with this massive move, and I thought he was going to go. And so I thought, I can't chuck Crystal Palace any higher than that, than 16th. And 15th, I put Aston Villa. So obviously they finished 17th. I don't think that's too bad a prediction, 2 places out. Obviously, I'm sure Bournemouth fans will be telling me that Bournemouth should be staying up and Villa should be going down after that disallowed goal against, Sheffield United, which didn't count for no reason whatsoever. But yeah, I wouldn't say those ones in bulk are that bad, but I think definitely my worst prediction has to be, I think the whole video will just be Sheffield United.
Yeah. My next 3 up, so in 17th, I put Brighton. In 16th, I had Norwich, and then in 15th, I had Bournemouth. Yeah, I think I didn't know about Norwich. I sort of came in thinking that they might be able to do pretty well, but vastly overestimated sort of their squad, and that they went absolutely tumbling out of the league. Didn't win a single game in like that's
ages.
Yeah, that's sort of 10 fixtures, didn't get a win. Something stupid like that. Which of course is poor. Bournemouth, I didn't have a lot of faith in Bournemouth to stay up. They've been sort of riding their luck and sort of be very fortunate of teams going down. Same with Brighton. Those 2 teams for last season, they've been sort of at the mercy of teams doing worse than rather than them doing good enough to really stay up. And Bournemouth did then eventually their luck has run out. They've gone down, and now Eddie Howe's left. It'll be interesting to see what Bournemouth can do from here, because I don't think they're going to be coming straight out of the Championship. I think they could be. I think they could be down there for a little while.
Yeah, they're quite a small club as well, aren't they? They've got a small stadium. Until they came to the Premier League, yeah, they did well to come up. Was it 3 consecutive years in a row they got promoted or won it? And they did well to come up, but I'm not sure we'll be seeing them in the league again for at least 5 years. I don't think. Well, I will be happily be surprised by that one, and obviously that will come around to bite me on the ass like everything else has. But I personally can't see it. I think they'll, especially losing Ake, they'll lose Ryan Fraser. They'll lose Callum Wilson, I'd assume. There's Harry Wilson who'll go back to Liverpool. I can't see him coming back up.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a rebuild. Yeah, we've seen yesterday, well, on the day of recording this, yesterday Fulham have managed to go straight back up, very surprisingly. So, you never know. So, next 3 up from that, I'll go. So, my 15th place, I had Burnley. 14th was Aston Villa, and 13th place was Watford. Yeah, 2 of those I got very wrong. But Villa, I had some hope that they were going to stay up, considering the amount of money that they spent coming into season. I thought they were going to do very well. Of course, they were pretty diabolical in the end. But I had some faith that they were gonna stay up, and they were gonna, and do well, considering the money that they spent. Watford, I don't think if anyone predicted Watford to go down this season, you're a genius.
Yeah, I think they shot themselves in the foot getting rid of. His name's gone from my head. Nigel Pearson, was that it? Yeah, I think they shot themselves in the foot, because he knew what he was doing. And I think with 2 games left, I think they thought, we're not going down. We'll get rid of Nigel Pearson, start building for next season. And it's just not gone well for him. No,
it's it's actually really poor from Watford. They were absolutely at the foot of the table for quite a while. Nigel Pearson, as you say, comes in, romps them up the table. Midway through last month, they were 4 points clear of relegation, and they've completely thrown it away. And then Burnley, Burnley were going to stay up. I guess they finished just a bit higher than I thought they would.
Yeah. What positions did you just do? 15th.
Yes.
I already did 15th, so I'll do 14th and 13th, and then we're on the same one, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my 14th is I put Southampton, which I don't think is far wrong actually. Let me just check. 11th Southampton finish. So again, not too bad. Like for the people just outside, I've either been really good or like I've just been sort of a couple of places out. The phrase which I used for Southampton was too good to be relegated, and I sort of stood by that. I think they have quite a lot of quality in their side in individuals, but it just depends on whether they work as a team. Players like James Ward-Prowse, obviously Danny Ings, who have come into the side. Players like that, I think they're too good to be relegated if they work together as a team. But I think that's vitally important for Southampton. And we saw that earlier on in the season when Leicester smacked 9 past them, that they weren't working as a team. And then Ralph Hasenhüttl did a really great job at getting that team spirit together. Obviously got Danny Ings firing as well, which definitely helps when you've got a striker banging 20 plus goals a season. So that was my 14th prediction. And my 13th prediction, we've just spoken about Bournemouth, so I won't go too much. But I just said last season they started strongly and were in contention for top 8, but their form dipped at the end of the season. And my main point was it would be interesting to see if Eddie Howe can stop that dip in form. And clearly they didn't.
Yeah. I actually realised I went up to 12. So who's your 12th place?
My 12th place, Watford.
Same as mine then.
Yeah. I literally put, because I wrote mine after the first week of the season, so they'd already lost 3-0 to Brighton. I believe they'll have a decent season. And like obviously with them, you forget as well that they got to the FA Cup final. Obviously not this year, last year, and they signed Ismail Yassar, and you know a good signing for him. Who has looked good? He looks too good. I think he'll be snapped up and taken back. And if not, it'll be at least a season. Then he'll be back up into a top league. But I think it's easy to forget that as well about Watford, that they were in an FA Cup final only, a year and a bit ago sort of thing. And very strange to see them go down because of how good they are. People like Decore, Troy Deeney's a very good player as well on his day. They've got a very good squad, but I just couldn't. That's all I can say. They just couldn't get it together this season. And unfortunately for them and unfortunately for Bournemouth, their dip in form has coincided with a lot of teams actually after lockdown doing quite well and being able to establish their teams together, because I think lockdown treated quite a few teams quite well, getting injuries back and stuff like that. And I believe Watford and Bournemouth were two of them teams that just struggled. And even though Bournemouth were a bit better coming out of lockdown, they sort of had, obviously, it's great to see Dominic Solanke score again, especially from Chelsea's perspective. That helped us massively. But I just think both Watford and Bournemouth, obviously, they will be aware that they let themselves down. But whether I'm sure or not they'll come back up, I don't think so. I think Watford, if they can keep their players, will be pushing for top 6 next year, but I don't know.
Yeah. What do you reckon about... I know Troy Deeney's been a very loyal player to Watford. He was, the reason why one of the reasons why they even got promoted in the first place up into the Premier League. I don't know whether he'll stick about. I probably have a feeling he probably will. I don't think there's too many sort of offers out there for him, places for him to go. Maybe on a newly promoted side, but even then, I think he's more likely to stay at Watford than go anywhere else, which is a shame because he is a good striker. But
yeah, on his day, he's not obviously the greatest goal scorer, but on his day, he can he's a presence. He's like Giroud in that way, in that sense. He's maybe a little bit quicker than Giroud, so a little bit harsh for me to say. But he has that presence and he has that link-up play, and that's what makes him so deadly, because he can bring other players into the game, and obviously he's a great penalty taker as well, which, as Man United have just found out, is a great asset to have.
Yeah. Right, so let's move on let's go 11th to 9th.
Yes.
So my 11th was Crystal Palace, 10th West Ham, 9th Leicester. yeah, West Ham, very lucky to survive. Crystal Palace, I don't actually know where Crystal Palace finished. They
14th. There you are.
14th. So, yeah,
Not
more or less.
not too bad. Yeah, not too bad a prediction.
Yeah. West Ham, yeah, of course, they finished just outside the relegation zone. And then Leicester, of course, finished 5th. Leicester had a lot better season than a lot of people thought they were going to be. It was amazing to see them, shoot up to 3rd, and we're thinking, wow, it's sort of like the return of, their Premier League winning days. It was great to see, but in the end, it's more than fair to say they completely bottled it.
Yeah, well, what you've got to remember is as well they were Liverpool's closest rivals for however long of the season. Like, obviously, everyone was like, yeah, it's between Liverpool and Man City. Obviously, everyone was expecting Man City to go on this long run of form towards the end of the season, as Man City do. But Leicester were actually in second for a good chunk of the season. I think it was up until about January. They were in second, and yeah, they had a great season. It's just a shame that after lockdown, they're one of the teams that has really struggled after lockdown.
Yeah, struggled, I think, is definitely an understatement. They dive bombed, kamikaze.
Yeah, they dropped a point late on at Watford, didn't they, to a Craig Dawson overhead kick. And, it's Craig Dawson scoring an overhead kick. That doesn't happen often, does it?
No. But yeah, Leicester were coming out of the restart, 5 points clear of Chelsea in 3rd place, and now they've ended up, a point behind, 2 points behind in 5th. It's just, it doesn't bode well. So, who did you have in those?
So I also had West Ham. I put about needing more depth to challenge further up in the table, and I think that's sort of been the story of West Ham a little bit. They've had a few injuries here and there. They've been relying, obviously, towards the back end of the season on Mikel Antonio, and Declan Rice has been a good servant to him. I'll be interested to see if he gets a move away. He's been rumoured with Chelsea, I know that. And the other point I made was about Sebastian Haller, and talking about how he could be a massive signing because obviously they lost Marco Arnautovic, and Marco Arnautovic was really good for West Ham, and he's just not filled that void. And I think that's why, obviously, West Ham are used to sort of being towards the top end of the table, but they're also used to being towards the bottom end of the table as well. There's no in-between with West Ham, and I think that's why 11th place prediction was probably a bad one, because they're either doing really well or doing really badly. In 10th place is my only correct prediction, and it is the mighty Burnley. I got that one spot on. Obviously, I think it was not this season, but last season they had they didn't have as good a season because they got into Europe, didn't they? And that actually affected my next prediction, which comes in. But and I thought the loss of Tom Heaton could be a big one. Fortunately, Nick Pope has been fantastic for them. So yeah, I don't think I could really say much about that one. I got it spot on, and I will take that to my grave and be more than happy with it. So that's me very pleased. And my 9th place one, like I said, talking about Europe, I put Wolves. And I thought Europe was going to have more of an effect on Wolverhampton Wanderers. I think they ended up finishing, 7th? So again, I wasn't too far out on it. But to be fair, they've done fantastic. They were top 4, top 5, top 6 for most of the season. And there wasn't really much need to worry. They've got a great squad depth now. They've got Traore, who's been suffering with shoulder problems and stuff like that. They've got great squad depth. And I'll be interested to see how they do in the Europa League when that resumes in a couple of days' time.
Yeah, actually, on day of recording it resumes tonight.
Oh, is it tonight? I didn't know.
Yeah. Kicks off in about 5 minutes.
Oh, sweet. I did not know that.
Anyway, this isn't going out until like Saturday, so. Oh, they had a great result. It was great.
Oh, yeah. Well done, Burnley. Great overhead kick, Raul Jimenez.
You said Burnley. Anyway, so we'll go all the way into 5th place now. So we
Yeah.
can just talk about our top fours. So from where are we?
Eighth.
eighth to fifth. So eighth place was Wolves for me. So I put them, just one place ahead of you. I thought Wolves were going to do, pretty well. I think they were going to handle it quite well. Next up in seventh was Everton. Sixth place, I put Chelsea.
Mm-hmm.
Fifth place, Arsenal. And I put Chelsea in sixth because
I think you've done the same as me here. I think you've put them lower down because you didn't want to be too confident. And you didn't want to be like, yeah, like United were, all at the wheel. You wanted to be like, yeah, all right, let's think about this.
Yeah, I like to think of myself as a realistic, fairly pessimistic Chelsea fan because
pessimistic person.
Great. Yeah, I thought, Frank was going to do decent at Chelsea. There was no way that it was going to completely flop and we are going to finish outside the top six. However, with losing Hazard, with not being able to sign anyone, the only people that we actually had in, Kovacic signed on a permanent deal and Pulisic had come in from January. So I knew that they were going to do, some good. And, they have done brilliantly this season, I think. But, that reliance on youth could have, they're not used to playing at the intensity of the Premier League. Well, most aren't, a lot of them are loaned out to, the Championship League One.
Yeah.
And, it surprised the hell out of me, the fact that we finished top four. I think top four is an absolutely incredible achievement for Chelsea. Yeah, we didn't get the FA Cup, but, we got what we wanted. We got Champions League football next year. We've brought in Ziyech, Werner, perhaps Havertz, or
looking likely,
or Black, but for crying out loud, we need defenders, Frank. We need defenders. Anyway, yeah, that's why I put them sixth, and then Arsenal fifth because I thought surely they can't drop out this top six.
Yeah. Well, they proved that one wrong, didn't they?
Then yeah, Everton seventh. That's a pretty bog standard sort of
I put
prediction.
Everton seventh, actually. I just thought they were going to have an Everton season sort of thing. Just, flirt with the top six, maybe push it, maybe be like fourth for a couple of weeks, drop down, maybe be 10th and then end up finishing seventh, that type of thing. I put them at seventh as well.
Yeah, it's just a very Everton prediction, isn't it? It's just seventh.
Yeah.
So let's hear yours.
Yeah, so my eighth was actually Leicester City. So, not too far off again, to be fair. Like, I'm quite pleased because quite a lot of mine have been like 2 or 3 off, obviously, other than Sheffield United. And I know for a fact everyone's like looking at us going, you both put Sheffield at 20th. What's the point in this video? You've already admitted you fools. Obviously, 7th, as I said, was Everton. 6th, I put Manchester United. Honestly, most of mine was just transfer talk for most of this. And like, I literally put in it, they've been linked with Paulo Dybala and Christian Eriksen. How well did that work out for them? Hey, they got Odi and Igalo. But yeah, I didn't think it was going to be like a return for Man United to like challenge the top. I just didn't think they. Rashford and Martial have been great this season, but I didn't think they had enough in them. Like, I thought losing Lukaku was a big thing for them because I think United fans, of course, they were expecting a 25-goal-a-season striker, as I think everyone was. But you've got to remember, Lukaku was bagging at least 15 goals each season in the Prem. And that's a lot of goals for one man. And obviously, then you've got Rashford, Martial. At the time, you had Ibrahimovic, who was, flirting with the team, that type of thing. So I do think United might have finished higher had they let Lukaku go in the January transfer window. And because obviously Martial then came out sort of like all guns blazing a little bit, didn't he? Sort of after Christmas time, started scoring a few more, ended up on about 15, 16 goals himself, so did Rashford. But yeah, I just put them there just because I couldn't see him beating who I put in 3rd and 4th. And obviously they have. And I don't know what else I can say other than it depends on who they sign next season as to whether I will predict them. I'll probably predict them third again next season. But it depends on who they sign to see if they can push on for City and Liverpool and push on for their spots. And fifth, of course, put Chelsea. I was actually expecting Michy Batshuayi to be the first team striker, but that shows how much I know about football.
Yeah. Also on United, the signing of Bruno Fernandes in January was
detrimental.
It was absolutely incredible, and
he's been fantastic, hasn't he?
Yeah. So, I think I know what you mean with United next season. I think they definitely will probably get top four. They've been linked with Sancho at the moment. That's the current rumor is that
shenanigan.
Yeah, 120 million for Sancho, which they don't seem to be too willing to pay considering the circumstances. Which I don't blame them. 120 million at the moment is a lot of money isn't it? Especially for someone who is so young. Yeah, he's a great player, but I don't think you can really price tag him at that at the moment.
Yeah, I did put actually on my Man United prediction. I put, having battered Chelsea on the opening day, things are looking up for United. But Chelsea did concede against City, 6 against City last season and still finished above United. And to be fair, I don't think I was far wrong on that. United won in games they beat Chelsea twice in the league. I think they beat them 3 times actually, didn't they?
Carabao Cup.
Yeah, Carabao. But then when it mattered, in the FA Cup, they were just crumbling, weren't they? And obviously, they did well after lockdown, but you look at some of the fixtures they had after lockdown, they weren't fantastic teams. Leicester was obviously a big changing point for them, but at the end of the season, obviously, that was a big game for them. But like I said, I'd be interested to see if they have a long run of maybe Liverpool, Chelsea, Manchester City, if they had 3 of them in a row, how they would then fare, because I'm not sure they've got the squad rotation which the likes of Liverpool and City do to challenge next season.
Yeah, they definitely need to start digging deep with their squad, start signing some some players that, not necessarily going to start, but are going to be solid squad players.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Now, into the top 4. This is where I got it. No, I got 3 out of 4, but none of them in the right place.
I got 2 out of 4, so I did even worse.
So fourth place, Manchester United.
Yeah.
Third place, God help me, Tottenham Hotspur. Second, Liverpool, and top Manchester City. Now, Tottenham in the top 4 because, given just how amazingly Poch did with that team, got into a Champions League final and didn't spend a penny, I thought, surely this is going to be a big motivational push for them to go on. They've signed some players, now they can go on and challenge higher. And obviously that didn't happen. Poch got sacked, which I still think to this day was a terrible idea. I don't think they should have done that. Jose's come in, and I wouldn't even say Jose's improved it. I would say Jose's probably just kept them at where they were, because Jose at Spurs has been so inconsistent. They can play a blinder one game, but then play absolute stinker the next. They're so up and down. And it just seems to be Jose at the moment. It just his teams that he has. I know he's inherited this team. It's not exactly his fully, but it's not like he's inherited a bad group of players.
No, definitely not.
We've seen season after season, everyone's gone, why hasn't Tottenham won anything? Why hasn't Tottenham won anything? And it's true. They've got so much talent and so much, so much depth in that squad for players, but they just don't get anywhere with it. And Jose hasn't taken them anywhere with it.
Yeah, I'll just talk about Tottenham because I put them third as well. But I just put about them having a relatively sort of busy transfer window, but not believing they had a strong enough team to challenge for the title. And obviously that came to fruition quite quickly on in the league. And obviously they're 7-2, was it? being hammered by Bayern Munich. Kind of, I know as Chelsea fans we can't talk because we got battered 3-0 at our own place, but like there's one thing being battered 3-0 by the best team in Germany, but there's another thing being smacked 7-2. Like that's just completely different. And you know, Pochettino, I expected him to stick by him a little bit longer than they did, but at the end of the day, I think he lost the dressing room really. And when you lose the dressing room, that's where the problem becomes, because we saw it at Chelsea with Jose Mourinho. Well, we've seen it at Chelsea with literally everyone you can name. When you lose the changing room, you lose the team. And unfortunately for Tottenham and Pochettino, that's what happened. He lost the changing room, and Vertonghen ended up sleeping with whoever apparently, and whatever that actually happened broke up that team, didn't it? And it just didn't go well.
Yeah, a lot of background. I wouldn't background politics may not be the best way about it, but yeah, it didn't go well. So you always had Tottenham in third. Who was the rest of your top four?
I had Arsenal in fourth. I was sort of impressed by their attack, but at the same time, like obviously we know the abilities of Lacazette and Aubameyang, and I knew that they would be good. Nicolas Pepe came into the team, and I thought he could do a good job. He's just not been at the races really this season. He's not been the, what was it, 70 million, 60 million, 70 million signing. That,
stupid amount.
Yeah, that Arsenal expected of him. Tottenham expected. And then I put about Arsenal signing two defenders. Kieran Tierney's not been in the team. He's been injured all season. And David Luiz has been, oh my God, he's been one red card after an own goal, after a mistake, after, giving Chelsea a goal. And then all of a sudden he'll have the greatest game you'll ever see. And you'll go, wow, is this prime Sergio Ramos or is this David Luiz? And you're like...
He definitely picked his moments to show up, doesn't
he definitely did. And Arsenal just baffled me this season. I think they still need to improve on the defence. If they can keep hold of Aubameyang, I think they'll be very lucky. But obviously Aubameyang's now 31 now, and so he's just about to leave his prime years and go into his sort of twilight years. So we'll have to see what happens with Arsenal, because they might need a complete revamp under Mikel Arteta. And then we actually put the entirety of the top three the same, with Tottenham, Liverpool and City. Both of us put in City would win. Obviously, I think for Man City, they suffered from not having centre-halves. And I thought they were going to blow everyone away. I put about them blowing away West Ham on the first weekend. But I think because they had Fernandinho at centre-back for so long, I think that puts so much of a strain, because Fernandinho is a world-class centre defensive midfielder and a fantastic centre-half. But then when you're having to play Rodri, who's just come into a team, it then shifts the whole dynamic of the team, because you go from having this player who is the key, the linchpin of your team, to a player who's just been brought in who has to learn the language. He has to do this, he has to do that. And I think that's what's ultimately caused this team to, fail. And obviously they've been pretty inconsistent as well, Man City have. Like they got, they went to Norwich and conceded, what was it? Was it 3-2 or 4-3 at Norwich? And it was a ridiculous scoreline at Norwich. And you're like, this is the reigning champions who are going to Norwich, who ended up finishing 20th and conceding at least two. I can't remember what the exact scoreline was, but conceding at least 2 or 3 against them. And fair play to Liverpool for making the most of that, because they seem to be the only team that has really made the most of the fact that Man City are doing awful.
Yeah, very, very poor from Man City this year. I think we knew pretty much straight away that City were not going to be on the Liverpool level of Liverpool. Liverpool, ran away with it. As you were speaking earlier, even Leicester were above City for quite a significant amount of time. And I think, by Christmas we kind of just kissed away the title to Liverpool. We knew what was going to happen. So it wasn't. Yeah, Liverpool did very well this season. But I think while they have been great this season, they really need to start investing money into that team now. Yeah, they've got a great squad, a great starting 11, and on its day is literally unbeatable. They've only got beaten once this season, which is testament to how good their team is. But if they're really wanting to get a double, back-to-back titles, which is the hardest thing to do, there's a reason why only 3 teams in the history of the Premier League have ever done it. Manchester United multiple times, Chelsea and Manchester City.
Yeah. Manchester United, for the space of like 10 years, did it all the time. They were just like, yeah, we'll have a year off, someone else can do it. And then
yeah. But no, they don't really have that much depth. Like you were talking about.
Don't.
And, people have credited Klopp for not spending the vast amount of money on this team. But if you look at the likes of even like Chelsea now, we don't have great squad depth this season. But now that we've signed, 2 players, you can already see the depth that we're starting to bring, especially in our attacking options. We were so scarce, and now we've got so many. Same with our midfield options. We've got so many midfield options that we can dip into. Each player with their certain thing. We can really adapt our midfield.
Yeah.
But, I think that's one thing Liverpool really need to focus on. City just need to sign quality. They've signed that lad from Valencia.
Ferran Torres? Is that his name? Something like that. I did put in at Man City's about... obviously, they signed Rodrigo, Angelino. They signed back from PSV Eindhoven and João Cancelo. And Angelino's obviously gone to Leipzig, and it was on loan, but it's I think it's a buy clause at the end of this, so he'll be there. João Cancelo's not been anywhere near the squad because obviously Kyle Walker's a great defender, but they've just not played him at left back either because Zinchenko's been doing a decent job, and when Mendy's fit, Mendy's obviously a great left back. Just on Liverpool, if there's a quote for you to take away from this, Louis, today, it was this from me. You ready?
Yep.
Liverpool will push City all the way, but I think back-to-back Champions League titles is more likely. How well did that one work for me?
If you're new here, make sure to hit the subscribe button. If you did like this video, make sure to leave a like. That's all from me for now. God only knows when the next football video will be out. Currently, the F1 season is completely dominating my channel, and it will do until it finishes probably around December. So, so thank you guys so much for watching. My name's been Louis Edwards. Thank you.